G'day, Steel Nation. Welcome back to Steelers Nation Australia, and also welcome back to the Steel Curtain Network. However, if you're here on my YouTube channel on Steel Nation Australia, you can see that I'm in, a podcast box or a podcast room. Very fortunate, as I sound very croaky. I'm here in Dublin. I've been doing a lot of celebrating, a lot of partying, a lot of hype up for our Pittsburgh Steelers. But I'm very fortunate to be able to record this podcast on behalf of the Dublin City Library and my good mate John, who seamlessly just said, yeah, come inside, 1 hour tops, let's record a podcast. So I do apologize for my voice. I know what I sound like. I've been having too many beers, way too many sherbets, but I do want to talk about the game. And while it's fresh in our minds, I want to talk about the Dublin Pittsburgh Steelers takeover. I've never been to Ireland. I've never been to Dublin in my life. When I first got here, I was a bit like, thrown back a tiny bit going, I finally landed. It took me 25 hours to travel here from Sydney to Qatar. It took 15. Qatar to Dublin took 7. And I was a bit jet lagged. I stayed awake as long as I could in terms of just had to be awake, because the minute you hit the pillow or the bed, you're sleeping, you're out, right? But it has been a massive takeover. And when I say Pittsburgh Steelers takeover, like it is like 70,000, 100,000 fans that have turned up to Dublin just to support our team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I've also been very fortunate with my good mate, Tom McCormack, who's the International Steelers Fan of the Year. A big shout out to him too. I had him on the podcast last week. He was taking me around all these events. So I was going around VIP events. I got to meet Will Howard's dad, Bob. He's a good bloke. I got to meet Carnell Lake. I got to meet Bob Pompiani, Missy Matthews, and also Rob King. It was fun. It was really fun to be a part of that. And I'm not really, in my life, I'm not really a very important person many times. I'm just a bloke in his room talking Steelers, or a bloke in Ireland talking the Dublin game. So that was kind of cool and unique experience. And thank you, Tom, for that as well, for allowing me to, bump elbows and talk with these big personalities. I even also, Art Rooney II's son, Dan, I shook his hand and said hello for like 1.1 second. But these people, the owners, the Rooneys and everyone else and the media guys are very busy. I found that they are so busy in what they do, and you have to speak quick, speak fast, and say, I appreciate you, or what's happening, or how's your day? And then you kind of got to move on as best you can. But I've been very fortunate to, bump elbows with these guys, and it's been a lot of fun. This whole thing, for me, it's been one massive hype. I can't remember in time that we had a week 4 game with this much hype. And I really, really mean that. The Steelers Nation took over in black and gold. It's week 4. The Steelers were 2-1. Excuse me. Steelers were 2-1 going into the game. So are the Vikings. If we lose the game, it's not the end of the world. If we win the game, it's fantastic, right? We're 3-1, which we did. But I've never seen so much hype. So much hype overall just for a week 4 game. That to me is insane. But that's because it's the international flavor. It's the international, team coming over, the Steelers and Vikings. A lot of Vikings fans too. A lot of people running around town, drinking beer, Guinness. I had my first Guinness. I thought Guinness was going to be, and maybe to solve my, I haven't got a cold, but I feel very run down because I have been drinking a lot of beer. So maybe to solve that, I got one more Guinness. But there's been a lot of Vikings guys, a lot of Vikings and Steelers fans all around the city, and it felt like a Dublin Pittsburgh Steelers takeover. And I truly mean that. And I even think that watching the game live when I was inside Croke Park, as I sound very croaky with my voice, I've never been to Croke Park. 75,000 fans there. That was also a takeover. Looking around the stadium, everyone's twirling the terrible towels like absolute crazy. It was so much fun. It was just, you can't write a better script for the game, how it ended, because how the game ended was, we're up by 18 points. We should be able to, I'm happy we won, but up by 18 points every single time, the Pittsburgh Steelers make games stressful. They just do. As we know, the last 4 or 5 years, we haven't won a game that's been double digits at all. So it was very stressful to the end, but it was quite a spectacle being there, even with the Irish bands, with the crowd singing West Virginia, the crowd singing Zombie, the crowd singing all these different things. Renegade played. It was a super, super crowd that was going absolutely insane. And that's why I've lost my voice. So to backtrack a bit, it's my first time in Dublin. It's my first time being here, and I'm going to be here now 5 days, and I'm getting ready to go to Galway, and I'll still try and continue to do these podcasts as best I can when I'm traveling around Europe. I'm going to Galway, then I'm going to Germany next. Hopefully I sound better than I do now. But this is because of my silly nature of drinking too many beers. But when I first arrived here, there were so many people. I went to have my first Guinness. I was like, what? I've never tried a Guinness. I've tried one tiny bit of a Guinness, one tiny sip. And I was like, oh, that's okay. But when you have your first real one and you look at it and you're thinking, it doesn't even look like a nice beer. It looks very, I don't know. I've just never been a fan of like the dark ale beer. I've just never been overly a fan of that. We have 2 years old in Australia, and that tastes terrible to me. But the minute you had it, or the minute I had the first Guinness, and that kind of set everything up for the next 2, 4, 5, 6 Guinnesses, it was so smooth. So while we're here talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers takeover, it has been a crazy time. Like it has been now. I feel like on day one, all the Steelers fans in the city were walking past each other and saying, "Hey, how are you?" Or they were yelling out, "Here we go, Steelers." But I do feel like, to a certain sense, that after the game, not that you won't do that in the future. I just think that it's kind of like it's over now, right? It's we've won the game, the hype's over. All-time leading hype into a game ever. You walk past a guy and go, "Here we go, Steelers," wearing a Steelers jersey, or I sit down in a bar, I start talking, and I sounded more Australian than I do now. And they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'm like, "I'm from Australia." And they always think I'm from Ireland or Irish. And then when it happens, they, ask them where you're from or what's happening, or are you going to the game, and all these things. Like the hype was absolutely unreal. So I wouldn't change that for the world. I am kind of glad though. I'm kind of glad that the time that I don't have to have beers all the time for 24/7, I can chillax now. I can go into my normal routine and probably go to Galway, have a good time over there. But the Steelers in itself and Pittsburgh really represented Pittsburgh in the world. Like I met people from Steel Nation Mexico, my good mates over there. I met the 2023 International Fan of the Year, Juan. I met so many people. I met Wesley Euler as well. That was really cool to meet Wesley Euler and Matt Williamson. Gave them my condolences for Dale and my condolences for Tunch and Wolf, because they've also impacted my life greatly. And I always love football talk. I just love, not a huge fan of clickbait or quick stuff like that, or those silly articles. Should we go and get this guy? No. I want real football talk. So I'll let it be known to Wes and to Matt Williamson that they were both good blokes, good guys. And also what's really funny too, the minute that Matt Williamson stood up, if you ever get a chance to meet him in real life, he stood up and he was like 6'7". 6'5". He was a tall guy. He was a tall bloke. So it was really cool seeing those guys from Steel Nation Radio and DVE, the morning show, and all those guys up there. They had a home base at Fitzsimmons pub. And I just even thought then, it's kind of crazy. I just even thought, I'm doing a podcast right now in a Dublin library. It's insane. But they had a, makeshift podcast area up on the roof, people having beverages, eating some good food, and, singing yarns. I'm telling you, the overall hype of this team, like how many Here We Go chants I saw, was at least above 25. And I still feel like when the game, and we'll talk about the game in a minute, guys, I know you don't want to hear me all my travels, but if you do, I appreciate it. But these are the real stories, though, right? These are the real stories. Excuse me. Excuse me. These are the real stories of me losing my voice at Croke Park. Sound very croaky. And it was a lot of fun. Like the fact that I can listen to Wes Euler and Matt Williamson each and every day back home in Australia, Steel Nation Radio, in the days when I listened to Tunch and Wolf, I just wanted to, get my message across to him, because I've done a podcast with Wes before. He's a really great bloke. And I just wanted to get my message across saying, we appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think we do that enough. We tend to say that to people once they have passed or whatever it may be. But for Wes Euler and Matt Williamson. I was like, you guys are up there. Same here at Steel Curtain Network. We got Steel Curtain Network does podcasts every single day, from the preview to the hangover to G'day Steelers Nation. So I wanted to get it over to Matt Williamson and Wes, that I appreciate them, and I really appreciate the time of day they gave me to sit there. Also, speaking of time of day, how many fans I ran into, just, older couple Steel fans, and I sit down with them. Do you mind if I sit here? No, that's fine. Come sit down. And Maurkice Pouncey, of all players, Maurkice Pouncey came over to the pub where they're doing the podcasting, and Maurkice Pouncey started signing autographs. And I sat next to one bloke, I believe from memory, his name was John as well. And as I sat next to him, he was a really nice guy. He was so happy. The bloke next to me, I think his name was John. It was his birthday the next day, and I had a beer with him. I bought him and his mate a beer, and his wife one too, I think. And I sat next to him, right? And not once did he get up in line to go and get something signed. He was actually brought to tears in happiness and being just being so thankful and humble, sitting there watching people be happy. That was pretty cool. I don't think I'll ever forget that. That was pretty cool. Maurkice Pouncey comes over, does his podcast. Someone hands him a Guinness beer, and he downs it. Then next minute, he's signing autographs, and people are lining up, and they got their stories. They've met him before, or whatever it may be. And you see how happy the Steel fans are in terms of the players. And the players really did a good thing, like 110%. The players out there, from the former alumni or former Steel players, Big Ben was doing podcasts, Ike Taylor doing podcasts, interviews and stuff like that. Or Maurkice Pouncey. They had the other bloke was I just forgot off the top of my head. Max Starks was doing a terrible towel tour. He went all the way around Ireland. He went insane. So it was really good to see. It was really, really refreshing to see some goodness in the world. And I'm not saying too as well that Dublin is all cracked up to be. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers takeover made Dublin better than what it is. But to me, it's just a big city that you have a lot of things happening. And as everyone knows now, you had the news about Skylar Thompson, where he got, I believe, mugged by 4 people. And also that was late at night, and he went to hospital. So there were some bad things too. Not everything was great about Dublin in terms of like the cleanliness of the city or their overall, I think, standard of people here. Some of them are, I'm just saying, a bit troubled. It's not the safest city in the world, to be honest. But when the Pittsburgh Steelers took over, it did its justice. It made everyone be a Steeler fan, and that's why it was so much fun. So Steeler Nation, you probably want to hear my thoughts, or at least some thoughts about the game. So, and as my voice is I'm going to try my best. As my voice is going bad, in the next after this break, let's talk about the game and what I saw. I was there all the way from Australia, 25 hours travel. I was there in Croke Park, section 328, and I watched the Steelers win 24-21, which we had an 18-point lead, and then it all went to a heart attack game yet again. We can't have nice things being a Steeler fan, but there are some good positives for our team. So right after this, we'll go to a quick break as my voice gets worse, and we'll see you after. We'll see you in the second half. Alrighty, Steel Nation, welcome back to G'day Steelers Nation on Steel Curtain Network, and also on Steelers Nation Australia YouTube channel. I am here at the Central, or Dublin City Central Library, and I researched, are there any podcasts? Where can I do a podcast? Are there any quiet rooms around the city? This came up. I sent an email. They responded quickly. I walked in, and John gave me a room. So there are some good things, some very good things. Before we go into my voice, man, my voice sounds terrible. It's all the beer. It's when I have too many beers and not enough sleep, I sound like this. So we are going to get better next week when I do the podcast. But I do want to talk about, before I go into the game, because the game was freaking amazing. And I can't wait to watch it again. I won't watch it for another few days. I'll let it sit for a bit. I might watch tomorrow night or next night, in my hotel room. I've been staying in a hostel as well. So that's something that I don't want to do anymore, being 35 years of age. I like my own space, but I'm surrounded by 6 blokes in a room, and you've got to do the best you can. But before we go into the Steelers-Vikings game, which was absolutely unreal, and we'll talk some good positive things because you can talk some negatives. Look, we'll knock the negatives out of the road first. Should have Mike Tomlin gone for the field goal, or should he have run it? If Mike Tomlin gets a TD right there, they win the game. They win the game, what? 31 to whatever. They win the game by a mile. So I'm not really against Mike Tomlin doing that. Should he have punted at a certain stage when he probably could have went for a 4th down or gone for a field goal? Maybe not, right? But they always make us sweat. So those are the negatives, but we will talk some positives. Before that, though, let's talk about the division. Yeah, let's talk about the division, the AFC North division. So if you don't know by yet, if you've been living under a rock, and by the time this comes out, I guarantee you, my discount double check by Aaron Rodgers, I guarantee you that the Bengals will lose against Denver. There's no way Jake Browning can beat Denver at home. I just don't see it. I think that's crazy. I know we had a tie yesterday, 40-40, but the Bengals are 2-1, and they're versing the Broncos at home. It's Bo Nix with their guys and their defense versus Jake Browning and the Bengals. I think they lose by a lot. So let's imagine they go 2-2, right? Who else lost yesterday? The Ravens lost yesterday. It was either a win-win for Steel Nation because we had the Ravens versus Chiefs. They were both 1-2, right? And either way, the Chiefs would go 1-2, would go 1-3, or the Ravens. Now we are sitting at the top of the division. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-1, and the Baltimore Ratbirds are 1-3. You could not ask for a better start. Couldn't ask for a better start. I saw the game near the end too. I think Lamar Jackson, he did okay with the box score, but Mahomes went off for 4 TDs. We had, he just, went down the field orchestrating, but you had Lamar Jackson interception, got sacked 3 times. And I just don't think that coached that well by John Harbaugh. I think they only run the rock 8 times to Derrick Henry. So that's the recipe for disaster. And not your Baltimore Ravens, but the Baltimore Ravens suck. And here they are sitting at 1-3. I don't know who they verse next. I'm going to quickly see who they verse next in terms of, because if they can go 1-4, that'd be fantastic. They verse the Texans. If they can lose against Texans 1-4, which they definitely can, that'd be fantastic, right? Super Bowl champions meant to be Ravens are now 1-3. So I'm super happy about that. I'm really keen about the Ravens losing. It's good. Now let's get into the game. And my Steelers and your Steelers, right? Overall, when it first started, there was the national anthem, there was the band playing, there was a fireworks, there was everything. Now from the get-go, it was Rodgers getting sacked, and I thought, oh my goodness, we're going to go through this again, right? But when we go through it all, I thought Rodgers had a pretty good game. He was, I think he had 2 TDs, and he had a pretty good completion rate. I'm just checking ESPN now. My apologies. He had 1 TD, and he had 18 for 22, 200 yards. That TD was to Metcalf. I think Gainwell played really good too. Just before the game, I didn't even know. I had no idea that Jalen Warren was going to be out. And next minute, he's out. And the next man up is Kenny Gainwell. I had him in my fantasy. He still didn't do enough to get me a win, but I had Cam Ward as quarterback, which was probably a mistake. But Kenny Gainwell got 19 carries, 99 yards, 2 TDs. So, yes, it was a heart attack game like normal, but we are figuring a few things out. I think the play from the quarterback, Rodgers, is dissecting. He's, moving people around, getting people into space. Like, that was probably the best first 2 quarters when they went 7-7-7. It was 21-6. First 2.5 quarters, Steelers played a really great game in terms of passing the ball to Metcalf or to Kenny Gainwell on the side, or they pass the ball to Darnell Washington. Thought he played pretty good too. Big Darnell as well, D80. He played fantastic as the tight end / left tackle, right tackle guard situation where he's out there blocking people. He's just the biggest unit, man. He's the biggest unit on the field, so you got to get him out there. He also had a sneak too. He had a sneak for 3 yards. So I'm hoping that the Steelers can use him more in the sneak game. They brought in Spencer Anderson as an eligible receiver. I was talking to a guy next to me. He was from the Vikings fan base, and he was like, "Why do they keep saying he's eligible?" I was like, "Well, it's just what the Steelers do. Last 3 or 4 years, we make a O-lineman eligible so we can build up the offensive line with a tackle or extra tight end and have more, pretty much in a nutshell, bigger bodies out there to hit people hard and have more rushing lanes for Gainwell to use." So I was a little bit nervous when there was going to be no Jalen Warren, but watching the game live, Gainwell looked awesome. He had 99 yards, 1 short, and he had a 5.2 yard average. That's fantastic. 131 yards average too. Calvin Johnson did okay. He was getting used to playing, I think, getting normalized to the offense. I still would like the Steelers to use more tight ends in terms of, Frymouth or Jonas Smith or those guys and Big Darnell. But I think the game plan was to run the rock with Gainwell and get the ball quick and fast to DK Metcalf. I've got a video out there. I went on to one of my mates' podcasts, Steelers Dynasty podcast with Bubba and Shane. And as I'm on the podcast, I recorded live me going absolutely nuts. To see that in action, the quick slant pass to DK Metcalf and him running in stride, the big unit he is, the whole crowd absolutely went wild, bonkers. And that's when I believe we went up 14-0. 14-6 or something similar to that. Now, the game also started with Jalen Ramsey apparently running back for a TD. And I was like, oh my goodness, we won 7-0. But it didn't work out to be the case. The hand on the ball with the guy on the outside. But DK Metcalf is something special. He really is. He's a massive unit, and he's the reason why they went and paid all that money. So DK Metcalf was a superstar. Kenneth Gainwell was a superstar. Darnell Washington as well was really good. Now, Rodgers, he did fumble the ball, and it reminded me of Russell Wilson versus Ravens last year. So I was a bit like, oh boy, that wasn't a good run. But then Broderick Jones picked it up, and he was like a battering ram down the field. So our offense was pretty good. Flipping to the defense, though, there were some standouts as normal. TJ Watt, he's now kind of back. He had the sack, and I'm so happy that I got to saw live his interception. Someone put their paw up, might have been Cameron Hayward or someone else on the D line, and then TJ Watt has in his career 9 interceptions, 10, something similar. He's just building his career haul. I know people want to get rid of him, trade TJ Watt. It makes no effing sense. There's no way they trade your best player on the team, that is TJ Watt. He had 5 tackles, 3 solo, 1 sack, and 1 tackle for a loss, and 1 pass deflection, and 2 QB hits, and 1 interception. Where's TJ Watt? Where is TJ Watt? That's all I heard the last few weeks. TJ Watt has been warming up, and now I think this team is getting together. They're chipping in. They're all wanting to play. You saw some good spurts of Jalen Ramsey, a good form tackle from Wallen Thornhill. We did see Brent Eccles go down, but he played pretty good before that. The secondary is stepping up, in my opinion. You saw the D-line with Keanu Benton. He played fantastic. This might have been their best game. Out of the 4 of them, this may have been the best game. It was a lot of fun. Nick Herbig as well. How can I forget Nick Herbig? Nick Herbig had 1.5 sacks and 1 tackle for a loss and 3 QB hits. And, he was on fire. He's like mini TJ. So I don't know the status of Alex Highsmith, but as a third depth chart rusher, Nick Herbig's doing okay. He's on fire. So I know we almost lost the game. It came down to the wire, but there are some very, very positive things for this team. The first 3 quarters were brilliant. To be 21-6 versus a high-powered offense that is the Vikings, and they sacked Carson Wentz 6 times, and he was 2 TDs and 2 interceptions. He threw the ball 46 times. So the Steelers just need to play better on offense and keep time possession, because I think overall, I don't know if the Steelers can keep doing this. We'll find out. But the time possession is not great. The Vikings won time possession 34 minutes or 33 minutes to 26, and we had 2 turnovers. That's why they came back in the game to lose 24-21. But we need to figure that out in terms of running the rock. And but at the same time possession, right? Do you want time possession, or do you want DK Metcalf scoring an 80-yard TD? Maybe you want DK Metcalf scoring an 80-yard TD. All right, Steel Nation, let's do a short episode today because I am trying my best to get through this, and I apologize if you don't like hearing a croaky Steelers Aussie fan over in Dublin. But I did really enjoy the game. I'm getting ready now to go to Galway. Getting ready to go to Germany, and I would keep doing content, and I'll be here next week as we talk about the bye and so maybe some things I see for the Steelers. It's great now. We have a bye. The Steelers can be 3-1. They have a bye. They can rest up. They can go home. They've had their Guinness. We got the job done. At the end of the day, the Steelers got the job done being 3-1. And after all the hype, I think that's most of all the biggest positive is being 3-1 probably winning the division to the next few days because the Bengals, when this comes out, they should lose to Denver. Now in Dublin, the game is at my 1 a.m. I'm not staying up to watch Bengals win or lose at 1 a.m. I'll just wake up and see the Bengals they've lost against Denver, and I'll make my way to Galway, and we'll see how we go. But this is a positive. This is a good thing. I think Steeler Nation can feel proud of themselves for people like me traveling all the way from Australia or from America to overall support your team. That's what we're here to do. We're here to support our team. And yes, it was hard. It was tough. It was heartbreaking. But we're 3-1. We're 3-1. The Steelers are 3-1. And is this like right now? Is it playoff football? Maybe not. But are the playoffs starting tomorrow? No. So the Ravens are failing. The Browns are failing. And the Bengals, I don't think will win another game, to be honest. I think they're going to lose every game. That's a big call, but I feel like that Jake Brown, the way he played and the way their defense sucks, I don't see them winning another game. I feel like the Bengals, no Joe Burrow, no win. No Joe Burrow, no win. All righty, Steel Nation. Thanks so much for listening to a croaky Mark Davison from Steel Curtain Network and also from Steelers Nation Australia. The next time you hear me, I should be much, much better. But I am very excited and very happy and humble to be a part of the Steelers fan base and the Pittsburgh Steelers TAKEOVER Dublin. It really was it. I've never seen so many jerseys, or it felt like Pittsburgh. And I've been there 4 times. All I saw every corner I turn around was black and gold. There's everyone wearing Steeler jerseys, and the game itself was absolutely insane. With 75,000 fans, probably about 60,000 of them were Steeler fans, at least. Listening to Renegade and everyone's fired up, and I get to see my favorite team play football. And I can't believe that. I saw Aaron Rodgers play football in a Steelers jersey in Dublin. That's something that probably not many people can say. So I'm very, very humble, very keen, and very excited to continue this journey and keep talking football and talking Steelers football because we're 3-1. Let's celebrate. We must celebrate. Steeler Nation, I'll see you guys later. So signing out from Dublin, Ireland, and thank you to the Citizen Centre Library and Jono for allowing me to do a podcast in this room, this soundproof room. All right, Steeler Nation, I'll see you later.